The night before his execution, Seneca slept. Not out of courage, not out of resignation. He slept because he had been preparing for that exact night for 40 years. And the method he used is the reason you are still awake right now. Think about the last time you couldn't sleep. The ceiling stared back at you. Your mind ran through every conversation you should have handled differently. Every bill, every decision, every person who might be disappointed in you tomorrow. Now imagine that tomorrow is not just another day. Tomorrow, a soldier is coming to your door, and he will not be leaving alone. That was Seneca's Tuesday night in the year 65 AD. He was nearly 70 years old, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, the former tutor and advisor to the most powerful emperor in the world, and Nero, the man he had spent 20 years protecting, educating, and trying to keep from becoming a monster, had just signed his death warrant. The charge, plotting against the emperor. It was almost certainly false, and Seneca knew it. So here is the question that should keep you awake tonight, the way Seneca refused to let it keep him awake then. How does a man face the night before his death with a calm mind, when everything that is happening to him is completely, catastrophically unfair? Here is what we know about Seneca the man, before we can understand Seneca the sleeper. He was not a monk. He was not a saint. He was not a man who had conquered desire and lived in peaceful poverty, the way Epictetus would later choose to do. Seneca owned 3 luxury villas. He wrote 124 letters about the importance of simple living from one of those villas. He accumulated one of the largest private fortunes in the Roman Empire while writing essays about why money was irrelevant to happiness. The ancient world's critics noticed this contradiction and attacked him for it. Seneca's answer was remarkable. The philosopher does not need to be perfect to be useful. The point is not to have already arrived. It is to know which direction you are walking. He was walking toward death. He had been walking toward it for 40 years. And the night before it arrived, he was ready. But the readiness was not automatic. It was not a personality trait. It was a practice. And it started not at the end of his life, but at the beginning of every single day. Seneca called it the evening examination. Every night, before sleeping, he asked himself 3 questions. Not once in a while. Not when he remembered. Every night, for decades. The first question was, what weakness did I yield to today? Not in a self-punishing way. The way a surgeon examines a wound, not to feel guilty about it, but to understand what happened so it doesn't happen again. The second question was, what did I improve? Even the smallest movement counted. A moment of patience where there would have been anger. A choice to read instead of gossip. The mind, Seneca believed, must be given evidence that it is capable of changing, or it will stop trying. And the third question, what was left undone? This is the one that most people miss, the undone thing. The thing you were afraid to start, the conversation you avoided, the life you postponed to tomorrow. Seneca was obsessed with postponement. He wrote about it more than almost any other subject. Dum differtur vita transcurrit. While we delay, life passes. He believed that the accumulation of undone things was the single greatest source of human suffering. Not external threats, not death, not pain, the weight of what you never began. And so, every night, he cleared the ledger. He went to sleep, not because there was nothing left to fear. He went to sleep because he had already looked directly at everything worth fearing, named it, and set it down. Now, here is where it gets interesting, because Seneca also had insomnia. It is documented. He suffered from breathing problems throughout his life, likely severe asthma. And there were nights, many nights, when sleep simply did not come. On those nights, he did not fight the wakefulness. He used it. He called those hours the quiet that belongs to no one else. The deep night before dawn, when the city is silent and the mind is finally stripped of its performance. No audience, no role to play, just the self and its thoughts. And on those nights, Seneca wrote letters. The letters we now call epistulae moralis, letters on ethics, were written largely in the last 2 years of his life. Many of them were composed in that nocturnal space. 65 years old, possibly 68, unable to sleep, writing to his young friend Lucilius about time, about death, about how to live. He was not writing for comfort. He was writing as examination. Each letter was him thinking out loud about what he actually believed, testing his own philosophy against his actual experience. The writing was not decoration. It was the method. When he wrote, "We suffer more in imagination than in reality," he was not writing from a place of peace. He was writing from a dark room in the middle of the night, with an empire turning against him, and a former student now holding the power of life and death over everything he owned. He was writing it because he needed to believe it, and the act of writing it, slowly, carefully, with full attention, was how he made himself believe it. There is a moment, documented by Tacitus, that tells us everything about the night before Seneca's death. He was not alone. His wife, Paulina, was with him. His friends were with him. The soldiers had come in the afternoon, delivered the sentence, and left to return in the morning. That left the night. What Seneca did with that night was not prayer. It was not rage. It was not negotiation or desperate letters to people with power. He talked. He talked with his friends about the things they had discussed for years. The nature of the soul, whether virtue survives the body, what it means to die well. He talked the way he always talked, with precision and warmth, and that particular quality of attention that made people feel their ideas were being taken seriously. And then he asked his scribes to record what he was saying. He was writing until the end, not because he thought it would save him, but because the writing was the life. The examined conversation was the life. The method was not preparation for something else. It was itself the thing worth doing. At some point in that night, he slept. Tacitus does not record the time. We do not know if it came easily, but we know it came, because we know what happened in the morning. And the account of his final hours describes a man who was not shattered by exhaustion, not ragged with fear, but calm in the specific way that only sleep and a clear conscience can produce together. Now look at your ceiling. Whatever is keeping you awake tonight, the unpaid bill, the relationship that is slowly breaking, the career that is not moving fast enough, the version of yourself that you keep promising to become, none of it is an execution order. And yet it is doing the same thing to your body that the execution order did to Seneca's. Cortisol is the same molecule in 65 AD and tonight. The racing heart is the same racing heart. The mind running in loops is the same mind, running the same loops that Marcus Aurelius wrote about in the Meditations. The same loops Epictetus identified from a slave household in Rome. The human nervous system has not changed in 2,000 years. What Seneca understood, what the Stoics built into the core of their daily practice, is that the mind cannot be forced into stillness. It can only be given something specific to do that is more interesting than the fear it is currently rehearsing. The evening examination was not relaxation. It was redirection. You cannot command your mind to stop worrying, but you can give it 3 questions that require actual answers. And in the precise, honest effort to answer those questions, what weakness did I yield to today? What did I improve? What was left undone? The circular panic loses its grip, not because the problem is solved, because the mind has done its work and been released. Seneca died the next morning. The process was long and badly managed. His body, aged and weakened by years of illness, would not bleed fast enough when he cut his wrists. The hemlock they gave him next had little effect on his failing circulation, and the end came only when he was carried into a steam bath, where he finally suffocated. It was more difficult than he or his friends had hoped, but the accounts agree on one thing: he remained himself throughout. He spoke to his friends while it was happening. He offered them comfort. He asked his scribes, who were weeping, to remember their philosophy. He made small observations about the irony of his situation. The man who wrote about dying well was being given rather too much time to demonstrate it. He was nearly 70 years old, and he was more himself in the last hour of his life than most people manage to be in their best hour. That does not happen by accident. That happens because of 40 years of nightly examinations, 40 years of refusing to go to sleep with the ledger still open, 40 years of making peace with each day before it ended, so that no single day, not even the last one, could arrive as a complete surprise. The Stoics called it melete thanatou, the daily practice of death, not as morbidity, not as a death wish, as a discipline of presence. If you live each day as if it could be your last, not in the exhausted cliché sense, but in the precise Stoic sense of examining it fully before you close your eyes, then the last day is simply another day you were prepared for. Seneca did not sleep well every night. He would tell you that himself. He did not conquer anxiety. He managed it daily with specific tools, and he wrote down exactly what those tools were and sent the letters to Lucilius so that we would have them 2,000 years later. He was not a man who had arrived. He was a man who never stopped walking. And tonight, somewhere in the world, there are millions of people staring at a ceiling with the same nervous system, the same fear, the same circular mind that Seneca had in that room in 65 AD. The difference is that Seneca had been asking the 3 questions for 40 years. You can start tonight. What weakness did you yield to today? What did you improve? What was left undone? Write it down, or say it quietly in the dark. The form does not matter. The honesty does. And then close the ledger. Tomorrow has its own questions. But here is what Seneca never fully resolved. The thing that consumed the last years of his life, the question he kept circling back to in letter after letter without quite reaching the end. He knew how to prepare for death. What he never fully answered was whether a good man can serve a monstrous system and remain good. He chose to stay close to Nero because he believed his presence prevented worse atrocities. He may have been right. He may have been wrong. He may have been both. That question, how do you keep your integrity when the structure you are inside is corrupt, is the one Seneca left open. It is also, if you are honest, the question keeping a lot of us awake.